Hello and welcome to Pisces Moon Astrology. I'm your astrologer, Kate Leonard, and I'm excited to explore the stars with you. Hi everyone, welcome to the week of January 18th through January 24th. I mean, it's going, right? It's going so fast. And I promise I'm going to quit saying that eventually, but it's going so fast, right? Anyway, before we get into the astrology, which is so big this week, I want to say thank you to everyone for all the birthday wishes. Really, y'all are just the best, and I'm super grateful. And to everybody, thank you for being here. Thank you for listening and sharing the podcast. That really helps me, and I am really hoping to get the numbers up this year. So help me out, please, in any way you can. I would be ever so grateful. Now, what I'm going to be talking about is a little different this week because what I'm actually looking at is Aquarius. You know how normally I'm looking at an aspect, but this week what I'm looking at is this giant movement into Aquarius. So it's all eyes on Aquarius, planets on the move. That's what we're going to be looking at. But let me give you a rundown of some of the other things going on this week. And there's even more than this. There were so many things that I couldn't even summarize them all and keep this short enough. But just to give you some of the big events, we start the week with the new moon in Capricorn. So this is a time to set intentions around work or whatever you want to get serious about that has to do with the house topics of Capricorn in your natal chart. So in other words, if Capricorn is your fourth house, what do you want to get serious about as far as home and family? Maybe serious about a move, something like that, right? Fifth house, your creativity that you want to get to work on it. Think about Capricorn as kind of business and work in general, but where this is really going to matter is where it hits in your natal chart. You know me, I'm always going to tell you, you have to go get your natal chart. Okay, then also on that same day, which is the 18th, we have Mercury in Capricorn making a trine to Uranus in Taurus. First off, we already know it's a whole lot of earth energy. So there's going to be a little bit of a heaviness about this, a little weight to it, but it's a trine, so it's positive. So get ready for out-of-the-box ideas and bold inspiration. But even though they're bold, I think they're going to be grounded. On the 19th, Venus will sit in the lap of Pluto. This is a conjunction, and this is about deep transformation in all things Venusian. And so what are those things? You know what they are. All the good stuff, love, money, beauty, luxury, all that. Also that day, Mars is going to trine Uranus. So this is unexpected bursts of energy, initiating projects that you didn't even know you were thinking about doing, right? Like all of a sudden you're going to get this idea for a new project that seems to come out of nowhere, and you're going to have all of this energy to get started on it. On the 21st, Mars goes cazimi. That's a conjunction with the sun. And then immediately on the 22nd, he'll conjunct Pluto. Cazimis are about burning off the old ways, burning off what doesn't serve us anymore. So this is old ideas, old ways of communicating, old writing projects, anything that it's like, yeah, I had this idea to do this thing and I've been feeling guilty because it hasn't really happened. And, but I'm still clinging to it. No, if it's an old idea that doesn't serve you now, yeah, this cazimi is going to help you let it go. Mercury will then be renewed, right? Reborn, fresh ideas, fresh plans, all of that. But he's going to immediately meet up with Pluto. And what's Pluto? We're going to have to look into the depths of our soul and see, what do we really think? What do we really want to talk about? How do we want to communicate? What ideas do we want to bring forward? And by bringing our truth right? That's what this is about, bringing our truth into the light. We will be transformed, and we will probably transform a lot of people around us as well. Okay, that's all I'm going to go into as far as the other aspects. Now let's talk about the parade of planets making their way into Aquarius. Okay, so when we start the week, Pluto and Venus are already there. And then on the 19th, the sun moves in. On the 20th, Mercury crosses over the line and moves into Aquarius. And on the 23rd, Mars joins the party. So this is 5 planets: Venus, Pluto, the sun, Mercury, Mars, all in Aquarius. 3 of those planets moving, crossing signs. That means crossing house divisions in our charts, right? So before we even get into the Aquarius part of it, let's just talk about what it means when a lot of planets, when we've got these 3 planets changing signs. Let's start there. That's just a lot of cosmic movement. That is a lot of energy that's having to transform, because there's really a transformation when a planet goes from, say, Capricorn. Even though Capricorn is ruled by Saturn, Aquarius is also ruled by Saturn. So there is something in common about where they're coming from and where they're going to. But while Capricorn focuses on the stability and the structure and the earth, the groundedness of our hard work, right? How do we make things tangible? Aquarius is fixed air. Aquarius is humanitarian. It's forward looking, it's science, it's innovation, it's that kind of thing, right? So even though both are serious signs and both involve work, I want you to get that. Saturn rules them both. Both of these signs involve hard work. But what are we working for? That is quite different. So we are moving from working for us, working to create our own foundations, our own wealth, our own stability and security and all of that kind of stuff. And we are moving into this phase, this new energy of working for the collective. Hear me, because this is going to be a huge theme this year. So it's very appropriate that we're starting off with this little parade over into Aquarius. This is going to be huge. It's going to have to do with where the nodes change signs and where the eclipses are hitting. If you didn't listen to my podcasts that kind of gave some peeks about the energy of 2026, you want to listen to those, because this idea of working for the collective, working for community, working for the good of all, that is huge this year. And I think if you look at the politics, and no, I'm not going to get into it, I'm not going there, but everybody sees it. I don't care what side of the fence you're on. You've got to be able to look out the window and go, wow, we've got neighbors turned against each other. We've got family members turned against each other. We've got people within countries turned against each other. I'm in the United States. Everybody knows what I'm talking about. We've got invasions and threats of invasions. It's all about me, my growth, my power, my beliefs, all of that. This year, that's going to transform. It's not going to go gently. I've been warning you all, this is not going to go gently. Remember I said that the Neptune-Saturn conjunction in Aries is associated with the Civil War and stuff like that? Have you looked at any real news? Yeah. So this is not going to all just come about this year like, oh, now we're all for the good of the community. Yeehaw, let's have a party. No, it's not going to be like that, but we are going to get there. So that's the good news. And that's what I want everybody to hold on to. We are going to get there. And this parade into Aquarius, and then this 5-planet stellium. A stellium is a group of 3 or more planets in a single sign. This is 5 planets. This is a lot of power into that forward-looking humanitarian Aquarius. All right. So that's the first thing. We're going to be seeing a lot of shifting, a lot of changing in our personal lives. Let me go back to that because I got all caught up in the Aquarius stuff. But the first thing you might notice starting this week is that you just feel like a lot's going on. We feel like shifting in our own lives, like a lot of big energy and like, wow, things are changing and getting these urges that I need to do things differently and shift and be different. Look at the house. Look at where Aquarius is in your chart. That might give you some hints about where you're going to feel it most strongly. But we're all going to be feeling this general vibe as well. So a lot of energy. So the first thing, like I said, is just that things are changing. And we're going to feel that with all this crossing over. And there's this sense when things change, as I was saying about going from Capricorn to Aquarius, that we're really going into different territory. We have to act different. The rules are different. How we manifest things, it's different, right? Because we're like in a different world, you know? And so we're going to get hit with that a lot. What is that going to feel like to us? I don't know. Honestly, it's because it's going to be really unique and really different for each person. But I think we're all going to be having this sense, even if it's just a really almost like intuitive sense, that it's like, wow, I feel my life shifting. Before we even consciously know what we're shifting to, from, toward, whatever, we might just be feeling this unsettled. That's the thing to think about. There we go. I knew I'd get there. We might be feeling unsettled, like, I'm not sure where I'm going. Wait, do I still want to go where I was going? You know, we might get this very unsettled, disrupted kind of feeling. But that's not going to last that long, I don't think, because then the planets are in Aquarius and we've got all this massive power there. So last week, we already had Venus crossover. Pluto's been there for a while. Venus going into Aquarius, in its most literal sense, just means the love of the other, love of community over self, love of group over individual, love of doing for us rather than doing for me. All right? Is that gorgeous? Pluto's already there with deep transformation, uncovering the ugly Hades dark underbelly and bringing it into the light so that we can be reborn into spring. It's a big time we're going through, you guys. This year is something. It's something. Then the sun crosses over, and the sun is where the light shines. And I think that we're going to be seeing things from a different perspective. I think this is just part of what I've already been talking about, where it's like, oh, I'm not alone. Maybe I've been feeling alone. Maybe I've been acting as if I'm the only one who matters. I'm alone here. I want to manifest my dream, my vision for me, right? And I'm not, you guys, I'm not in any kind of way saying that we shouldn't still go for what we want. I'm not saying, you know, we should all give away all of our money and our possessions and our everything and go. Like, have you seen the Buddhist monks who are doing the cross-country peace march? Oh my gosh, right? Like, what does it take? We don't all have to do that. And I'm applauding them and I'm in awe of them. And they give me faith deep in my soul. But we are not all meant to be monks walking in poverty across the land, right? That's not what I'm saying. So don't think that I'm saying we're all going to have to go join a convent. No, no, no. I'm not saying that. We are part of the community. That's the difference. Instead of seeing myself as just me, Kate, what do I want? Oh, I want my podcast to grow, and I want to get a certain amount of money in the bank, and I want to find a new house somewhere. And I need to shift that focus to what does my community need from me? How can I serve? How can I do this stuff that I do? How do I bring my gift into the world in a way that is fulfilling to me? Of course, yes, 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 I'm part of the community. But how do I bring my gifts into the world to benefit others as well? And in doing that, we let go of this sense of isolation, of going through it alone, of being fragmented. How do we join up with others and share our gifts and reach our goals, both our individual goals and our collective ones? I think that is going to get more clear when the sun scooches into this party in Aquarius. Again, that's happening on the 19th. Then we've got Mercury on the 20th. These are our ideas. This is how we communicate, changing my ideas, like I just said. And I'm speaking me, but put it in your own terms, your own goals and all of those things. How do I change my thinking so that it's more collective? More about and for the collective. And again, I'm a member of the collective. I'm not saying go be selfless. I'm just saying you're you, and you have a right to your joy and your happiness and fulfillment and all of those things, but you're also part of you're also part of the group. And it's important to remember that. And Mercury is going to help us do that. And then Mars crosses over. And this, I think, is going to be truly dynamic because what's Mars? He's our passion. He's our fire and our drive. And I think when he crosses over and becomes part of the group, he's going to bring that sense of like, very literally, like I'm on fire for my community. I'm on fire. I'm heated up to be part of this community. And as we're all feeling that as the planets go into this sign, Aquarius, of community, it's interesting that they're in a stellium, which is a sort of planetary community, right? And yeah, how great is that? Another interesting aspect of this is that, of course, when the planets first cross over, they're all going to be in the early degrees because that's how planetary motion works. Pluto, of course, moves very, very slowly. So he's going to stay in the early degrees for a while. But these other planets are going to be moving through Aquarius, right? Through the month. And as they get into the later degrees, they're going to move into a square. Yes, you heard me, a square with Uranus in Taurus. Okay. Uranus. I love Uranus. It's one of my favorite planets because it's the rebel. It's the planet of thinking outside of the box. It blows stuff up and makes it go booms. And you got to do that to make things new, right? However, a square aspect is not usually so much fun. And when you're making a square with a planet that goes boom, it could be iffy. All right, this isn't happening this week. This is going to be each one of these planets except Pluto. It's going to be each one of these planets, Venus, Mercury, Sun, Mars, kind of having to face some discomfort. Uranus is in Taurus, fixed Earth, right? So that part of us, remember, they came from Capricorn. That's also an Earth sign. So that part of us that just was like, no, it's too hard to change. Don't make me. It's so hard. It might be, right? It might be challenging. This is going to look like a lot of change. And yes, there's going to be, I think, this maybe temptation, or when we're at our, when we're kind of exhausted or whatever, there might be this thing that it's like, no, I just want to dig in my heels and hold on to that earthiness. I want to get grounded. It's too much change. It's too fast. It's like, yeah, buckle up, y'all, because that's what this year is about. It's about this kind of change. It's about blowing up the old order and creating something new. And if it goes well, and I think it will, because I've looked at the astrology, right? If it goes well, we're going to come out of this with more of a sense of community and more of a sense of being members of a community. That might be on a hyper-local level. We may not be feeling it with our town, state, country, I don't know what, right? It might be very hyper-local, but we're going to come back to community. But I think Uranus is already agitating in Taurus and has been for a while, saying, the earth is shaking under your feet. That stability is an illusion, right? But when these planets all square off with Uranus, stuff will happen that's going to jolt us out of that fixed earth, tree deeply rooted, won't move kind of thing, and just be like, nah, change is happening. Change is absolutely happening. But I think it's a good thing. I just don't think it's an easy thing. I think on the other end of this, we're going to be beautiful. I think we're going to be getting together with people again, and maybe not even on Zoom. Maybe we're going to actually look each other eye to eye, right? It's a big deal, and it's very forward thinking. I think the way we come out of this year, starting with this stellium, the way we come out of this year is going to be something Aquarius, brand new. I think it's going to be good. Look at the planets there. Venus, love, money, beauty, all that stuff. Mercury, our minds, our thoughts, sun, shining on us, the warmth and the glory, right? Pluto brings the spring, even though, he kind of does it in that that Pluto way. And then Mars is our passion. It's going to be good. It's just going to take some doing. But not this week. This week, we're going to feel the movement. We're going to be like, whoa, what's going on? And then it's going to be a whole lot of sort of recalibrating our thinking. So anyway, I know I've gone really long, and I hope to see you someday IRL. Yeah, thank you for being here. And until next week, go out and seize the energies of the stars. This is my wish for you always. Bye.